what I would like to know first, Mike, is walk me through your history of visa and education.
When I was back in Brazil, I did a master degree in food engineering. But once I finished my master degree, the pandemic happened, so I couldn't work in my area.
Sorry,
And 2 years later,
which
sorry,
engineering did you do in masters in Brazil?
food engineering.
Food and yeah, okay, yeah,
Food, yes,
mhm,
it's related to chemistry engineering as well.
yeah,
But then once the borders opened, 2 years after I finished my master degree, I came to Australia.
yeah.
So I didn't have any experience back in Brazil. And when I came to Australia, I came in a student visa and then I started studying English.
Hmm.
I started in the general English. I think I did like general English, then I did IELTS course, and I was enrolled in English courses for about 2 years,
Two
a little
years.
bit less than that, I reckon.
Yeah.
And then that's when I started TAFE, well,
Okay.
January last year, yeah,
Yeah.
in civil construction design. And I'll be finishing the advanced diploma in civil construction design by December this year. I finished just the diploma by the middle of the year, by July, and
Yeah.
now my last semester it's from the advanced diploma
Okay. So when did you start your diploma of civil construction at TAFE?
in January last year.
January last year. Yeah.
Yes,
2024. Okay. And then you are expected to finish your advanced diploma and towards end of this year. Yeah.
December. Yes.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, as you know, we have Engineers Australia have changed the rules about
Yeah.
civil construction design students. So before it used to be that if you completed a diploma, advanced diploma qualification at civil as a civil construction design student, whether that qualification was accredited or not, as long as you studied it in Australia through full-time studies, not RPL, then you could essentially just go through the standard accredited pathway to get your skill assessment. Okay. However, they have, as you know, they've changed the rules since September last year. So
Yes.
basically, I like to share my screen, so I'll just so then we know exactly what you're referring to. Okay, so just give me 1 second.
Right.
All right. Are you able to see my screen, Mike?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So this is what we are referring to here. Okay. So effective
Okay.
1st of September 2024, they have um changed the rules around full skill assessment. Okay, where
Okay.
either your qualification has to be in Dublin record, accord, sorry, or you need to have go through provide what is called CDR or competency demonstration report. Okay, so it's essentially all the qualifications that are not accredited by Engineers Australia, which majority of them are not. Okay, at this point in
Yeah.
time, they have to go through, those students have to provide 3 CDRs, okay, in order to get skill assessment after they complete the course. Okay. Now it's a bit confusing. Just so you know, I did email Engineers Australia this week, and I'm still waiting to hear from them because what's confusing is that the interim arrangement, they say, okay, if you enrolled into your non-accredited advanced diploma course before 1st of September and you want to apply for a full skill assessment, in addition to the documents required, which is like passport, qualification resume, etc., English, you need to have 3 career episodes. Two of the three needs to be can be XYZ. Okay. What I don't understand is that if what is the purpose of this interim arrangement then? Because if you have a non-accredited qualification and if you go through the standard CDR pathway, you would still be required to do 3 CDRs anyway. So what's changed? What is the provision here is what I don't understand. So I have asked Engineers Australia to give me some clarification, and as soon as I do have that email back, okay, I will let you know, okay? And so yeah, it's I'm confused, okay? It's just it's the first time that has happened, okay? Well, I'm not the first time, but sometimes it's just wordings, okay? So
And this is something new, right?
maybe perhaps other people might have understand this better because I really don't. I've consulted with colleagues, and I just to me it's like, okay, you are required to do 3 CDR with the interim arrangement, and you are required to do 3 CDR with just a normal pathway for, say, you enrolled after 1st of September.
Yeah.
Makes no difference. So anyway, I'm going to assume at this point that you have to do CDR, okay? All right, so because it does say you need to have career episodes, and that's CDR, okay? Engineers Australia guidelines, which I have here for a skill assessment, okay, says that for your CDR pathway, if you are a recent graduate, okay, you need to have, first of all, you need to have 6 each, okay? That's a requirement as part of the skill assessment, remember that,
Okay.
Then we have, this is the pathway that you have to go for, okay? Because people have non-aggregated advanced diploma, okay? And for that one, I have some, yeah, basically what it said here, in addition to the documentation described in the migration skill assessment page, that's what it's referring to, okay? Is your CV, blah, 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 okay? Then you need to provide career episodes and summary statement, okay? Now, you need to provide 3, okay? Just like it says in the interim arrangement, you need to provide 3, okay? And they need to basically meet the following requirement, okay? And if you are a recent graduate, you do not have yet work experience, then you can basically make all 3 of your CDR based on your studies, and that will be acceptable, okay? There is a word of caution for you, okay? Is that if you just Google CDR, um, there are so many providers who say, oh, we'll prepare your CDR for you and you can submit it, okay? I get so many emails, delete immediately, okay? And the reason for that is that if you use a third party to do your CDR for something that you are submitting as your own work, that's contract cheating, and that's plagiarism. Okay, because Engineers Australia takes this very seriously. Okay, you are essentially buying, if you engage someone to do it for you, you're gambling with your future, basically. Okay, so don't. Long story short, don't do it. Okay, it's not difficult. If you have paid attention in your classes, you will know how to write your CDR, okay?
Yeah,
Because
that's
it
right.
doesn't ask you to do anything that you should already know as a graduate of advanced diploma in civil construction, You
Yeah.
just need to sit down and go through it and say,
Okay.
okay, because excuse me, they want to know what was your contribution as a civil engineer draft person or student civil engineer draft person, okay, to a particular project that you did, okay, as part of your assessment, okay,
Right.
and that's what's going to give you that, and you can be sure that when you submit your CDR that you prepared, that even if it doesn't meet the requirement, it's better to resubmit your skill assessment than to receive a letter saying, explain this. We have run your CDR through XYZ software and we have picked it up as plagiarism. So, and we are going to report this to immigration. And that's a very serious thing. Okay, I won't go
Sure.
into it, but I just word of caution to you and everyone who is watching this is to be very careful of that and don't do
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Right.
So in addition to doing the CDR, you also need to provide a summary statement, which is this one. Okay. So essentially, this is what you need to show, because how can I explain this? Okay. Civil engineering draft person or any qualification that is diploma, advanced diploma, or associate degree is called vocational education and training. Now, any qualification in Australia that is vocational education and training is based on competency. Okay, meaning that you have already been assessed as competent for XYZ skill and you are ready to go into the workforce, demonstrating that. Okay.
Okay.
So this would be based on what you have studied and the end scope for the civil engineering draft person. Okay. So essentially you need to provide this, and that, and where are you referring to in your CDR, basically, if that makes sense. Okay. So it's a big job. Okay. It used to be like, okay, all your standard documents, your qualification, here's your skill assessment. Now the workload is triple. Okay. But it's still worth pursuing it. Okay. So once you finish, well, I know we have jumped some steps here because we are going to discuss graduate visa after you finish your current studies. Okay. But I know this is a very burning question for a lot of people out there, including yourself. Okay. So
Yeah.
any questions? Did I
Just one about the skill assessment. You said that we have to provide the projects as well. Is it the same that we're going to submit for the CDR? We're going to use the same projects from the CDR and to the skill assessment?
Yeah, so you can use 3 projects or that you have done as part of your studies, whether it was group project or whether it was a single project that you worked on
Okay.
as part of your CDR. You get to decide. Okay, it just needs to meet the requirement that it says that if you're taking a major engineering project that required you to invest more than 120 hours. Okay. Of course,
Okay.
you also need to include the assessment, like, okay, what are we assessing here? Okay, you can go back to your documents and then you can find out. But essentially, what Engineers Australia want to know is your individual contribution. If you're going to use a group project as part of your CDR, then you need to say, oh, okay, you know what? We worked on designing this bridge, okay, for XYZ, and it was a group project of 10 students in each group, okay. Then we met once a week or once every fortnight for about 4 hours to discuss the progress, how we are going to execute, who is responsible for what. And then you need to go dive into what was your contribution to that project as a civil engineering draft person student, if that makes sense. Okay. Because they want to know that you have the competency. Okay. Because if you cannot demonstrate competency, okay, in writing, okay, through that you did all the requirements for you to basically go out there tomorrow and start working and executing your duties as a completely skilled, qualified civil engineering draft person, they are not going to give you a skill assessment. Okay. So of course, you can submit your designs that you came up as a group, okay, but ultimately everything comes to you. It's not a group assessment, remember. Okay, if you're going to use a group project, it's not a group assessment. It's not like TAFE, okay, that where the entire group is assessed as competent or not yet competent. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So they want to know what was your personal contribution. Okay. That's what CDR is really. Okay. Did I clarify your question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Any other questions?
Not for now.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to move towards your migration pathway. Okay.
Okay.
Let's assume at this point in time, because the interim arrangements are a bit confusing for me, okay, and for a lot of people out there that have consulted students, I'm going to wait until we have clarification, okay.
The
And the reason why
answers. Okay.
I didn't call them is because I want something in writing so that I can confidently say, hey, this is what we have received from Engineers Australia, okay. But I'm
Okay.
sure they will clarify, okay. Now, all right. It's a long journey. I'm going to stop sharing because now we are moving away from this one. Okay. So Mike, tell me, when does your student visa expire? Do you know on top of your head?
I think it's 15 of March next year.
Mhm. Student visa, 15th of March 2026. Cool. All right. And I would like to know, what is your age?
31.
31. Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to check your age, okay? But I'm just going
Okay.
to check that here because I have your resume. I don't need your um I don't need your date of birth verbally here, okay? Because we are live. Because I like to be very exact in terms of counting someone's age.
Yeah. By March next year, I'll be 32.
Okay, all right. As long as you're confident, okay? Where is
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, it's fine. Um, cool. So you're 31 years of age. That's great. You'll be 32 next year, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
2026. Okay, great. That's that's what I like to know. Okay, so in terms of your visa pathway moving forward, when you complete your studies as okay in December this year,
Yeah.
you will qualify to apply for graduate visa um 485. Okay. In the post-vocational education stream. Okay, they love to change names every year. Okay, it's fine. It's the same thing. They'll change the rules around English requirement. Okay, but other than and the age. Okay, this is why I'm asking you because the new age requirement for graduate visa for most people is that you must be on either 35 or under. Okay,
Okay.
and what it means is that if you have turned 36, okay, then you are no longer eligible. Okay, so it can be a bit confusing, but as long as you are 35, that's fine. Okay, you can still apply for your graduate visa. Okay.
Okay.
Um. Here, let me get some. Let me share another screen with you. Okay, hang on. What is we're referring to? There we go. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So 35 or under. Okay. You hold eligible visa is student visa is the eligible visa, and then you have completed your studies within 6 months. Okay. So basically between January 2026 until your visa expires in March 2026, we need to apply for your graduate visa. Okay. You will qualify for 18 months of graduate visa. Okay. One of the requirements in your case is that we need to have applied for your migration skill assessment with Engineers Australia, okay? Because Engineers Australia does not have graduate visa skill assessment anymore, Okay, they used to, but they don't have that anymore. Okay, so it's plus you need to meet the English requirement. Okay, plus you need to have overseas visitor health cover, all the standard stuff. Okay, you need to apply have a clear police check, AFP. Okay, and then essentially once we apply for your graduate visa within after you finish your studies, okay, is when you get your bridging visa A. Okay, bridging visa A comes into effect when your current visa expires. Okay, and then your graduate visa is still pending assessment from the immigration. Okay, so as long as you're in Australia, your bridging visa comes into effect, and then if you need to travel whilst your bridging visa is whilst your graduate visa is being processed, you need to obtain a bridging visa B in order for you to travel and come back. Okay, a lot of people don't realize that this is a really important step. You must hold a bridging visa B before you leave Australia
That's right. Okay.
so that you can come back, and you have to come back within the validity of your bridging visa B travel period. Okay.
Okay.
So what happens? Okay, we apply for your migration skill assessment. Once you finish your studies, we apply for your graduate visa. Okay.
Okay.
Say your migration skill assessment comes back positive. Great. Okay. Then we can finally start the process to get you to your permanent visa. Okay. Or to your skill visa, essentially. Okay. Because there are multiple skill visa options out there for depending on the occupation. In your occupation in particular, you are eligible for 3 types of skill visa, which we will discuss later. Okay, so for skill visa, okay, whilst the good thing about skill assessment, where yes, you have to go through CDR or all these new arrangements, but the thing is that once you get it, that's it. You don't need to exhaust your graduate visa to get skill assessment. Okay. Unlike, for example, trade occupations like chef or carpenter, or they have to have 1 year of experience after they finish their studies in order for them to get skill assessment. Okay. So once you hold your on your graduate visa, we go after your skill visa. Step number 1, okay, is the skill assessment itself. Okay, without having a positive skill assessment, you cannot apply for move on to the next stage. Okay, because with skill visa, because it's an invitation based visa, okay, you have to be invited. Okay, and the very first step is skill assessment. Okay, step number 2 is expression of interest. Okay, where do you know what that means?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we submit your EOI based on age, qualifications, work experience, XYZ. Okay. So I actually would like to do your points, okay? Because this is a very crucial assessment that we need to get right. Okay. So
Okay.
just give me 1 second. Can you see my screen, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. By the way, the purpose of me sharing the screen is more for my benefit. So I'm giving you the right advice. You don't need to understand any of this shit, okay? All right. So for your age, you will get 30 points. Okay. For your by the way, the pass mark for a skill visa invitation is 65 points. Okay. You have to have 65 points minimum in order for you to be invited. Okay. So in your case, specifically, Mike, okay, for your age, you will get 30 points. Okay. For your English, if you get 7 bands in each or equivalent, you get 10 points. If you get 8 bands in each or equivalent in IELTS, for example, you get 20 points. Okay. Now, realistically, tell me whether you can at least get that one. Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
great. So, because I'm assuming that you don't have 7 inch just yet, okay? So this is a future point, but we'll include that, okay?
Okay.
Because I want to have a realistic understanding of your points, okay? So if you're not confident, then that's fine. But the minimum you need to have is 6 each, okay? Similar to your skill assessment. With 6 each, you don't get points, but you do pass the English requirements for skill visa, okay?
Okay.
I will actually, just on the side note, I will share the English requirement for graduate visa. It's not on top of my head, but I will share that with you by email and for those who are watching on our socials, okay? For you won't get any work experience based on your overseas skill as employment because you haven't worked as a civil engineering grad person,
No.
okay?
Yeah. Yes.
Australian employment, you are not working as a civil engineer grad person at the moment, correct?
No.
Yeah, so you don't get any points. But if you do get points, okay, sorry, if you do get after you finish your qualification and you get a civil engineering grad person position, even whilst your EOI is lodged, okay, and you gain 1 year of work experience, it's only 20 hours per week in Australia, okay, you can get 5 points if you are not yet invited at that point in time, okay, and
Okay.
your points will increase by 5, okay.
Okay.
For your, you won't get no professional year experience. Sorry, your professional year you can't do it unless you complete bachelor's and then do professional year. Now, because you have a master's degree, how long was your master's degree? 2 years?
2 years.
Okay. And what was your bachelor's?
It's food engineering.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
Same area.
Engineering. Yeah, in Brazil. Just all right. So even though you have completed advanced diploma here, this particular point test advice or this particular point is your highest qualification equivalent to Australia. Okay, Australian qualification. It doesn't say you need to have Australian education. Okay, so basically because you have completed a degree, okay, in bachelor's or master's, you get 15 points, even though here you have completed advanced diploma. Okay,
Okay.
so for your qualification, you will get 15 points. Okay.
Okay.
Then because you have completed your study here for at least 2 years, then you get 5 points
Okay.
for having studied in Australia for minimum 2 years. Okay. Now, if you were struggling to reach 65 points, then I would recommend doing the NATI test. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's one of those things where you're an interpreter. You're required to do interpretation from Portuguese to English, English to Portuguese, and if you pass the test, they give you a certificate that says you have the this language test, and you can use that to claim 5 points. Okay. In your case,
Okay.
it's really up to you. The good thing, what you need to know is that the more points you have, the quicker your invitation comes. Okay. So
Yes.
it's always recommend if your language is listed in NATI on NATI website on CSL, I believe it's called CSL test, you can get 5 points. Okay.
Right.
You studied in Perth, right? Yes.
Sorry?
You are studying in Perth, WA. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So because you have studied in a regional part of Australia, Perth is regional for the study purpose. Okay. You get 5 points for regional study. Okay.
Right.
Do you have a partner?
No.
No. Okay. So because you don't have a partner, okay, um, that gives you 10 points. Okay.
Okay.
At the moment, of course, things can change. You might meet someone, and that's okay. That if it's really important that you keep your EOI when it's in being under consideration when we are in that stage. is if you do get married, or if you have a de facto partner, or if you are in a de facto relationship, then you really should update that or update me, okay? If I'm representing you, of course.
Yeah.
All right, but if not having a partner gives you 10 points, okay?
Okay.
All right, so how many points do we have? Hang on, let me do 30 points, 10,
I
15.
think
5.
75 without
Okay,
the
so you have,
matching.
yes, you have at the moment, well, with 7 each, future 7 each, you will have 75 points on your own, okay, without state government involvement, okay. So that's a really good mark, okay. With your civil engineering draft person, because it's in what they call long-term occupation list, okay, you are eligible for to be invited for 3 types of skill visa, okay. That's surplus 189, 190, and 491, okay. Surplus 189 is a permanent visa where that the invitation for that visa comes directly from Canberra or federal government, okay, immigration department itself, okay. And that 75 points meets the requirement for, because remember you need minimum 65, okay. It fluctuates, they get to decide who gets invited at how many points, okay. We don't have any control over that, okay.
Okay.
But if you get invited for that visa, you and it's granted, you are a permanent resident, okay. So class 190 and 491, they are state nominated visa, okay, state sponsored visa, where we need to have 190 is a permanent visa, okay, and 491 is a 5-year provisional visa, and in 3 years time you can apply for a permanent visa, or you become eligible to apply for permanent visa, okay. There is a difference between provisional visa and temporary visa. Your graduate visa is a temporary visa because it has an expiry date, and it doesn't lead to another type of visa, if that makes sense. Okay. Whereas 491, say you got invited for 491, you took that invitation, you got granted 491. Yes, it will have an expiry date of after 5 years from the date of the grant, but it leads to a permanent visa.
Okay. After 3 years.
3 years time. So that's the difference between provisional visa and a temporary visa. Okay.
Okay. Yes.
So in depending on individual circumstances, I would say whether you should accept for anyone, because I really want you to get your PR. Okay. So when you get when you have your skill assessment, say by the time March comes next year, you already have your skill assessment. We still have, and your graduate visa is still pending assessment. We have the luxury of time to be choosy in terms of the expression of interest, because expression of interest will say, oh, okay, what visa would you like to be considered invitation for? Okay, and you can choose 189, 190, 491, or you can just choose 189 and 190. Okay. So it depends. Like if your visa is expiring in 6 months' time, then we would be choosing all 3. But in your case, for example, I would be like, okay, either 189 or 190. Okay. Each state government has their own set of requirements. Okay. I won't go into it. Okay. We just don't have the luxury of time today. However, every state government gets to decide which occupation they want to sponsor, nominate for skill visa pathways. Okay. In WA, this particular occupation is on the WA list. If you get invited for surplus 190, the requirement is that you need to have minimum of 6 months of employment contract full time from a WA based business in your occupation. Okay. But 491 does not have that. Okay.
Okay.
Getting back to the points, if you get state invitation, so plus 190 gives you 5 points, okay, which makes your points total 80, okay, and 491 gives you 15 points, okay,
Okay.
in the EOI, okay, so that gives you 90 points,
Yes.
okay. So of course, someone who is struggling to reach 65 point mark, 491 would be a really good option. Okay, so it really
Yeah.
really depends on individual circumstances. Okay, and my advice always differs. So having that really good score in the points in the expression of interest really really makes a difference. Okay, so say if we get invited for 189, we go straight into lodging the visa. Okay. But assuming that we get, say we have to go to the state nomination, then the next step, which will be after the EOI, is step number 3, is the state nomination. Okay.
Okay.
If you get 189, you skip that one. Then step number 4 is the invitation to apply for the visa. Okay. And then you have 60 calendar days to make the application. Okay. And then finally we reach the actual lodgement. Okay. And once you lodge, again, as long as you get invited and we lodge the visa before your graduate visa expires, then you get another bridging visa until you get your skill visa processed and finalized by immigration. Okay. So that's more or less in a nutshell the skill visa process. Okay. So this is why it's really worthwhile doing that skill assessment through CDR, even if you have to do it, because you can maximize your 485 visa, and you can expect, or you can hopefully expect to have an invitation, because again, I don't get to decide, you don't get to decide who gets invited.
Yeah.
Okay. So any questions so far?
No, I reckon it's all very clear actually.
Okay. Yeah. So look, it's things are always changing with immigration. Okay, as just take example, graduate visa skill English language requirement. They've changed it like just very recently. Okay, so things are always shifting. Things are always changing. So as we progress into your migration journey, my advice, like if you were to do this in 6 months' time, it might be different. Okay, because of how volatile immigration law is in Australia. Okay,
Thanks.
it's always evolving. Okay, but having done this for many years, I can tell you that the system or the pathway leading to your skill visa, your ultimate permanent visa based on skill visa, will more or less be the same. Okay, even if things change slightly, that's fine. But that would be more or less the pathway that you would need to follow to get to your skill visa. Okay.
Right.
Now, of course, say for example, you get a job as a civil engineering craft person after you graduate, and you're working full time. Okay, and you completed 1 year of full time work experience in Australia. Okay, and you still haven't received an invitation, and your visa is going to expire in 3 months time, for example. Okay, but your employer is willing to sponsor you. You can pursue that. It's no problem. Okay, you can pursue that pathway if you are still waiting for the invitation. Okay, because then with the biggest drawback or disadvantage with skill visa is that it's a waiting game. You can't go from step one to step. Every step is a prerequisite. Okay, so you can't get to the
Yes.
invitation stage until you you actually submit state nomination or you submit your EOI. You can't submit your EOI without a skill assessment. Okay. Whereas with employer sponsorship visas, you have full control in terms of when you can lodge, when you lodge it, you get bridging visa. Okay. So the point I'm making is that things are, your pathway is going to be not what you imagine it will be. Okay. But you will get there. Okay. Things always change. Okay. And you can pursue those pathways as well, like employer sponsorship. Excellent pathway for someone to get permanent visa. Okay. And with 482 visa, the requirement is that you must have 1 year of full-time work experience or the last 5 years, which you will have. Okay. And then I won't go into it. But if we do cross that bridge, we'll have that meeting. But that also gives you an option to apply for permanent visa in the future with your employer's blessing, after you complete 2 years. Okay. So yeah, that's more or less what I wanted to discuss with you today. Yeah, it's not cheap, by the way. Okay, so I just want to tell you in advance that nothing is cheap in Australia. Okay, for professional advice and professional opinions, you really need to pay for their time and their skills. This is not something that you can learn overnight. Believe me. And skill visa may seem really easy. Oh, this is how many points I have. No, it's really complex web of things to actually pull apart and apply to individual cases. Okay. So
Okay.
everything I'm saying to those who are watching, it only applies to you, Mike. Okay. Only you. Okay. My advice is only for you. This is a very important disclaimer I want to make. So yeah, just we have my project officer here. So I'm just going to ask him if there are any questions. Do you have any questions, Douglas? Okay. Okay, so the question is, let's say I have just graduated and don't have work experience yet. My only option to apply for a CDR. What level of experience apply? Okay, VTSS requires minimum of 1 year of post-qualification work experience with minimum of 20 hours a week in order for you to apply for a skill assessment and get a positive skill assessment. Because with VTSS, the requirement is that your the skill assessment requirement is the positive assessment of your qualification as well as your work experience after post qualification, if that makes sense. Okay. So this is why I know VTSS is another designated body for skill assessment. And the reason, this is exactly the reason why I didn't mention it, is because it requires 1 year of post-qualification work experience as a civil engineering craft person for minimum of 20 hours a week, not full-time.
Okay.
Okay. And then you can apply for your skill assessment, no problem. Okay. The second question we have is, do you guide us on how to do the assessment for CDR VTSS, or is your work applied to the visas and send the documents to immigration department? Can you explain how it works? Okay. So I won't write your CDR. Okay. I can give you guidance on what you need to address in the CDR, but I cannot write it for you. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I can assist in all the process that we have discussed, okay, including migration skill assessment, whether it's with VTSS or with Engineers Australia, okay? But as I said, CDR, you have to do it yourself. You can't delegate that work to somebody because it is your skills that they're assessing, okay? What was the other question, Louis? Where do I find the requirements? Okay. Wait, there was one more. Can you please explain how it works if I engage the process? Look, in terms of engaging with me and how the process works, just my best answer would be to go to my website, book a consult, and then we'll have a private meeting, and I'll be able to explain what your particular pathway would look like in relation to based on your qualifications, your visa history, your work experience, all that stuff. Okay, because every single individual's circumstances are different, how they came to be to the point of advanced diploma. Okay, so it really depends. So I would advise just book a consult, and I can. Oh yes, I will. It's imifix.com.au. Here, I'll share my screen and I'll show how people can book the meeting. Okay, hold on. So this is my website. You can just click here, imifix.com.au, click on get started, and you can book an appointment. Okay, and there it is. Okay, and then I will show you my availability, and then you follow the steps until it confirms your booking. There is a fee for migration consultation of $240 inclusive of GST. Okay. Do we have any other questions? No. All right. Mike, do you have any other questions for me?
Just one
Sure.
about the okay. Once I finish, the first step it's apply for the CGR, right? Let's consider that about the English. I will try to get the test before finishing. So
Yeah.
maybe by the end of September, beginning of October, I'm gonna start doing the English test to get
Yeah.
the score that I need. But after I finish my course, then I can apply for the CGR with the 3 projects.
Yeah.
And then I think they will give me like a serial number, and
Yes.
we're gonna use this to
Yeah.
apply for the graduate visa.
Correct. Yeah. So, okay, I know your question. Okay, let me clarify that with you. Okay, so with your graduate visa, let me close this one. With graduate visa, you do not need grade 5. There. This is the stream that will be applying for your skill visa, for your graduate visa. Sorry. Okay. The requirement is that you have when you launch the application for your visa, that you have provided immigration with evidence that you have applied for a skill sorry, you have applied for a skill assessment. Okay. Where is it? There. You have applied for a skill assessment that is relevant to your skilled occupation, civil engineering grad person, from relevant assessing authority. In your case, is my Engineers Australia. Okay.
Okay.
That's it. Okay. However, for your visa to be finalized and granted, you do need to supply a positive skill assessment from Engineers Australia. To lodge your graduate visa, you can lodge based on the reference number they give you, that yes, we acknowledge that you have applied for a migration skill assessment in this occupation. That's enough to make the lodgement. Not enough to get the visa. You still have to have positive skill assessment.
Okay.
Okay.
And do we have a time limit, like just to apply to submit the skill assessment as well?
It needs
Or
to
it
be
needs to
before
be
the visa is
together?
granted. Yeah, it needs to be before they can grant the visa or they can finalize the visa. So what will happen is that after if you apply for your graduate visa based on having applied for skill assessment, but not holding the skill assessment, then the department, when they assess your your visa, they will send a request to say, hey, we would like you to provide a copy of your skill assessment, okay, before we can
Got it.
proceed with your application. Okay.
Okay.
If you applied, you're still waiting for your decision, you can let them know that, look, I applied for it, I'm still waiting, and they will give you time, okay? That's
Okay.
not an issue, but you just need to communicate with them. That's it. Okay. Well, I will communicate with them for you if you engage me as your representative. Okay. But these are the things that I will do so that you don't have to. Okay. But yes, 100% you have to have skill assessment positive in order for you to get your graduate visa. Okay. That's a really, really fundamental requirement. Okay. There was a question about how do I go about finding the requirement for the skill visa skill assessment. Sorry. So this is you can go to Engineers Australia website here.
Okay.
Okay, this is the main page. This is what it should look like. If you click on menu and you click on for migrants, okay, you click on migration skill assessment, okay, and then you click here view all migration skill assessment, okay, and then you should click on this link because this is where that assessment summary is. Okay, that PDF that I shared with you earlier is here.
Okay.
Summary statement. So remember, you need to complete this summary statement in addition to your CDR. Okay, because you need to link your CDR with where you have addressed this element in your CDR. Okay, so it can be CDR number 1, XYZ paragraph, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then again, you need to summarize that.
Okay.
Okay. So what I would recommend, Mike, is that you don't need to wait to start working on your CDR. You don't need to wait to graduate to start working
Yeah.
on your CDR because you can use the entirety of your qualification. And as long as you can provide CDR, so maybe you have done a big project up to now. Like, how long have you been studying? More than 1 year now. Okay.
Yeah.
A 1.5 year. Okay. So I'm
Yeah.
sure there is at least 1 or 2 CDR you can get out of the way at this point. Okay. Because it's not something that you will be able to execute in just 2 hours. It's actually, you need to plan this CDR. You need to write, okay, this is what I'm going to do, X, Y, Z. This is how you're going to. And it's really important. I would advise you start as soon as possible. Okay. Because then once you graduate, we can apply for your skill assessment right off. Okay. What else do I need to? I want to actually look at the new English. Just whilst I have you, I want to make sure that we clarify another important aspect is this, the English language requirement for graduate visa because it has changed recently. Okay. Oh, actually, that's on my website. Hang on, because I wrote a blog. I don't know if anyone. Because I wrote a blog about it. There. Okay. They actually started to accept additional English tests as part of the requirements. Okay, from 7th of August. They're accepting new providers. Okay, so that's great. Okay, not there. That's fine. Let's just look the regulations. There it is. That's the current legislation in relation to what is required for English. Okay, so That's the other one. No, 476, no. Oh, wait, hold on. This is the one. This is the one, not that one. Wasn't the first out. 5th of August 2025. English language requirements for 485. These are all the tests that they accept as part of your 485 visa, okay? And you're exempt if you're from these countries or you hold a passport from them, from these countries. And there, if you do IELTS 6.5 with no less than 5.5.
Okay.
Okay. You can also do general training, same score requirement. A lot of people do PT, so I will just look at PT as well. So with PT, minimum 55 overall, with 40 in listening, 42 in reading, 41 in writing, and 39 for speaking. Okay, you have to have these score in order for you to meet the requirement at the time of visa allotment, graduate visa. Okay, every visa is going to have different requirements, so this is specific for graduate visa. Okay, so I'm glad that I was able to clarify that. Okay, well, I think I've covered everything that I wanted to really discuss, because the purpose of this meeting is, and I'm again thank you for agreeing to do this, because I really want to educate people on students, to anyone who is interested to really know, because you can Google everything, but you are not going. You can ask ChatGPT, you can ask any other AI. It will most likely get something wrong. Okay, you can't rely on that. You should always engage a professional who is licensed to give advice. Okay, to either is a legal practitioner, registered legal practitioner, or a registered migration agent, okay, in Australia. And this is where you find, I want to do this actually. So you go to this website, Omara, and you just Google Omara, okay? It's Office of the Migration Agents Registration Authority, okay? So if you are engaging someone to do anything related to immigration, like, partner visa, skill visa, graduate visa, XYZ, okay? You can look whether they are registered with the registry. Okay, I can show you my registration. Okay, this is my. That is scary, Wait, how are you registered? Okay, what is fuck? Fuck. There it is.
Got it.
All right. That's my face. It'll show. Okay, but this is me. Okay, so
Okay.
whoever you engage, just check, okay, that they're registered, okay, and then
Yep.
you can be confident that you're getting the correct advice, okay.
Perfect.
You should never take actions based on what I have discussed here today. Not you, Mike. I mean, we'll discuss after in private, okay. But anyone who has watched our live webinar today, please engage someone who can assist you, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mike, for joining us.
Thank you very much for all the information.
Any questions, let me know. You can, for Mike, you can email me. You have my email address.
Yes.
For anyone who has questions, actually, yeah, I can't give you advice if you send me an email. If you message me I just cannot. I need to be able to understand the full history before I can actually formulate a migration strategy. So without a consult, I can't give advice. I just won't. Okay. So happy for people to contact me through contact us page on my website, but you will need to book a consult for me to actually go deeper into your questions. Okay. But thank you for joining us today. Any questions, you let me know after. Okay. And
Okay.
yeah, take care.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye bye.